Okay, everyone, welcome back. We have our sumeshi all well done and preserved. We have the one that was put in room temperature overnight, the one that was left in the refrigerator, and the one that was left in the freezer. So we're gonna leave it out to thaw, and if you're on a tight schedule, you can definitely use the thaw option on your microwave, or you can steam it a little bit if you have a steamer pot. But do remember that you don't want your rice to be too wet when you first cook it if you're going to steam it again, or else it might get too soft. So now let's go heat them up or wait them to thaw out, and I will see you guys later. Okay, so we're back. We have our three different methods of preserved sumeshi. We have the room temperature overnight, refrigerator overnight, and freezer overnight. We thawed them out, and as you can see, the freezer version has a lot of condensation on the sides of the bowls. So as we can see, this should mean that it captured most of the moisture within the rice. So we're going to make 3 balls of rice and 3 inari sushi. We'll try them all individually and give them scores according to how well the rice tastes in regards of moisture, chewiness, and freshness. So without further ado, let's get into the process of making these sumeshi rice balls and our abarage inari sushi. So when we're dealing with sushi rice, it sticks to your hand, right? So how do you prevent that from happening? The best method is to use vinegar or the juices from your abarage. Another method, you can also use water. But water dilutes the taste of vinegar in your sushi rice, so I would recommend against that. So let's dip our hands into the abarage gravy, and we'll first start off by making 3 balls. So that's ball number 1. So that's it for the room temperature thawed overnight sumeshi rice ball. Now let's move on to the thawed overnight sumeshi inari sushi. Okay, so make a kind of a elongated ellipse shape like that. Then you can take your abarage and open up very carefully, like so. And you're gonna put the rice into it, the sumeshi horizontally. So that's about done. And for a final touch, you can take some black sesame seeds and spread it onto your sushi. You don't have to get so much. I just accidentally got too much on my finger. Try to make it more concentrated in the middle so that it doesn't look like someone randomly sprinkled them on top. Like so. So that's the one done. We'll skip forward and see you guys after the other 2 are finished. So that's it for our inari sushi and sumeshi for the overnight room temperature preserved rice. Now we're going to move on to the refrigerated and later on the frozen preserved sumeshi, and we'll see you guys after all 9 of them are finished, and we'll give you guys the final results on whether or not it's better to leave it overnight in room temperature, to refrigerate it, or to freeze it. So we'll see you guys later. Okay, so we have all of our sumeshi rice balls and our inari sushi done. I wanted to show you guys the other wrapping method for if you have less rice. Basically, you will take the traditional inari sushi, you will turn your rice horizontally 90 degrees. So I'm going to press it down and make it horizontal. So when we do this, if you have less rice, it's going to create these 2 triangular flaps at the top and bottom. So you want to push the rice down, and then these 2 flaps will come along. So this will give another aesthetic to your inari sushi, and this will basically be a smaller helping of rice for the people out there that don't want so much carbohydrates or like the abarage taste but don't want so much of the rice. You can do this method, and this will look different from the traditional method because you're wrapping it horizontally, so the seam will be on the front and back, so it'll give a different texture as well. So there are all of our products for today. Now we're going to put it onto the plating plate, and we will let the judges for today decide which method is the best way to preserve cooked rice. Okay, so here we are at the taste test. We have our 3 inari sushis and 3 sumeshi rice balls in front of us. We're gonna taste it and then rank it from first to third place using our placement boards, so to say. So we're gonna use this, and we will also be using the traditional Asian tool for eating, which are chopsticks. If any of you don't know how to use the chopsticks, comment below. I'll make a short video teaching you how to do that. There is kind of a finesse on the right way to do it. If you know how to do it, you can do very precise motions and clip even the smallest of things like a rice pellet and even the red bean, green beans. A lot of people like to challenge people to clip M&M's, Skittles, those very slippery stuff. If you use the correct method of using 3 fingers and 1 finger for leverage, you will be able to dominate anyone in those games. So if you have a game like that coming up, comment below and I will teach you how to beat everyone in that game. And without further ado, let's start with the taste test. The sushi rice is actually surprisingly chewy because I secretly tasted it before putting it into a cool area to cool down, so I ate it when it was still warm or even hot. So it was soft at the time. I find it surprising that it's chewy after it's cooled down. So this one is the one that was preserved in the refrigerator overnight. Oh, this one tastes chewier, even more chewy, because I think it has to do with the temperature. So probably lower temperature equals more chewiness until a certain point, maybe nearing freezing temperature or below 0 degrees, then starts becoming hard or even starchy. So that's the refrigerator preserved version. This is the frozen one. So let's taste it. The chewiness is, I think, similar to the one preserved in the refrigerator, but the sourness from the vinegar is more enhanced, which I like personally. I think it's because, this is my hypothesis, maybe throughout the freezing process, it freezes the liquids that are outside of the rice, and when we thaw it out or when we reheat it using the microwave, it becomes liquid again and then encapsulates the rice granules. Although the refrigerator version also has that scenario, but I think more of the vinegar evaporates. If you have any hypotheses, comment below. If you do try this method, also comment which one you like the most. Now let's try the sumeshi rice that is wrapped in abarage, which is inari sushi. So if I were to give these rankings, I would say the frozen one is first place for me because the granules taste the same as the refrigerated one. However, the sourness is more enhanced. I like the vinegar taste, so personally I would go with the frozen preserved version of the rice for first place. Second place goes to the refrigerated version because, as I said, it's chewier than the preserved overnight in room temperature version. And third place goes to preserved overnight in room temperature because, relatively speaking, it's less chewy and less sour. So those are my final choices. Let's get my mom and my dad to try these out and see how they score these 3, relatively speaking.
Anyway, I don't have this one. Actually, these two chewy though, but I like this one more than this one.